ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NJPW Puroresu Review. I am your co-host, the Ben who's the biggest fan of the Fighting Princess. I'm Andre C. Right over here, it's the Dino Nugget herself. It's Melball. How you doing, Melball?
Dino Nugget. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm full of rage and small? Tastes like chicken?
No, you're a piece of chicken shaped like a dinosaur.
Fair. We had Dino Nuggies last week when we attended a show at the Telescience Center where we had a poutine that was topped with bacon, honey, and Dino Nuggies. It was delicious.
I had a hot dog.
Yes, you did. I also attended that. I had an exciting weekend where I attended that Disney immersive experience with my bestie, Michelle. That was a fun experience. If you guys have the chance to check it out in your area, highly recommend. It was fun to just sit there and watch children run through fake leaves and bubbles. Lots of bubbles. It's also a very somber weekend. I had a funeral to go to, and that was a little unfortunate. But we had a great leg day today. So that's a plus. Good way to start the week. How are you, my friend?
I'm happier now that my furnace is working again. I know I talked to the Japanese update. We started the show late because I had no furnace. I was trying to get it working. And I had to get somebody to come out because the motor control board went on it, and that cost us a pretty penny to get that fixed.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it's fixed, and at least we did not have that happen when we had that minus 40 snap.
And thank God for space heaters. Space heaters.
Canadian's best friend, to be fair.
It honestly is true. I think my basement was warmer with the space heaters than it is with the furnace because it's just the space heater. Because the space heater's constant heat, or my this thing cycles on and off. Yeah. But we're not here to
talk about that. Jinx.
You're not.
I'm just kidding. You can talk. I will allow it.
All right. Thank you. We're not here to talk about ourselves. We're here to talk about some wonderful Japanese professional wrestling. But before we do that, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here on either Andre Melball Wrestling Talk, Backbreaker Video, or on our audio friends, Sunday's Main Event. You can check them out at sunny'smainevent.com or on patreon.com/SNME Radio. Please support them over there. I want to thank you and if you are listening there, please give a 5-star review to the channel. We would really appreciate it. And if you're watching us on Andre Melball or Wrestling Talk or Backbreaker Video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. We love hearing from you guys. Share it out to all your friends, family, and weird aliens that are always messing with people. And also hit that notification bell so you can be alerted when we drop a new video.
Ding dong.
What are you selling?
It's Girl Scout cookie season.
Oh no! Screw you! No cookies. No, I don't need cookies. I'm trying to get healthy here.
Hey, now that doesn't mean that we can't have a Fat Friday meal once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
I had Swiss rolls on Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
It seems like a lot more than just Fat Friday.
There might be 2 more still upstairs. So,
Andre.
Hey, it was 2 on the Friday, one on the Saturday, and 1 on the Sunday. That's pretty good for this guy.
We'll take our victories where we can, my friend.
And then potato chips.
You're digging yourself a hole. If Rich ever sees this, he's going to be like, you bastard, 10 minutes more on that treadmill.
Oh, Jesus. I did 10 minutes on the elliptical today. Let's go. Woo. Yay. After doing a lot of core workouts, just my midsection is killing me now. Boo. Boo. Yay. Boo.
Keep digging, my friend. Keep digging. Good show.
All right. Hey, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk some New Japan Cup 2024 nights 2 And 3, we covered the first night of the Cup on the New Japan 52nd anniversary show that we covered. The first night was there, so we were talking into March 7th, night number 2. Uh, 2 undercard things we're going to talk about here. First, House of Torture versus Despi Hanma, Umino, and Yo. Show coming out all bandaged up and injured, saying due to Naito's heavyweight advantage and the outside interference from Los Ingobernables, de Japón, and then the emotional and physical damage that was done to him by Naito, he will not be part of the match. And he was saying that Naito cheated because LIJ got involved. They only got involved because your bastards got involved first, you stupid idiot.
Convenient how he forgets that
Freaking House of Torture logic.
nugget.
And,
Yeah.
but they did bring out Perry to replace Show, and in his first official match as a member of House of Torture.
Mhm.
I decided not to watch the match and move on to the next match that I'm going to talk about. Just 5 guys versus Los Ingobernables Japón. And the update I was going to give you all, we didn't get it. We got no Doki Choki on this one.
Correction. We got a very unenthusiastic Doki Choki when there was not actually a Doki Choki happening, which officially does not make it a
No,
Doki
no,
Choki.
it has to be him applying the Doki Choki with Gino yelling
Mhm.
Doki Choki.
It's a
That's the
Doki
only time it
Choki.
matters. It's the only time it matters is if Doki's applying it. If otherwise, it does not count.
Mhm.
So we're
Mhm.
saying that right here.
Mhm.
So we're gonna jump into it. First match of the 3 cup matches on the 7th. Tomohiro Ishii versus the birthday boy Chase
Oh.
Owens. I think he's probably like 50, 60 at this point. I don't know.
No. Isn't he like 30, 33?
Yes,
34?
he's younger than me. Yes, he is.
I was gonna say he's a young gun, young buck.
34. He turned
There you
34.
go.
I don't know. I just wanted
Oh,
to be mean. I just wanted to be mean.
rude, rude. You're talking more about Ishii.
He's the young. He's the young. He looked like the young spry one in this match, though.
Not true. Chase was
Owens
moving pretty
Owens
good.
was like hobbling around throughout half the match. Even at the start, he was
Hey,
kind of hobble. He was in a car accident right before he flew over to Japan, according to Walker Stewart. So I'll
he
give
was.
him that. The way he was moving early, I think Ishii looked better than him at that point. Like,
Hey,
uh,
tomato, tomato. I thought
but
they moved pretty good together.
yeah. Ishii attacks Owens before the bell. They brawl the floor. Ishii beating him up. This is where he found out he was in a car accident. Um, Owens is trying to stop Ishii from getting back in the ring, but he gets in at 19. They both because like they were on the outside fighting, and Owens got the better of them and got back in before he did, and just
Mhm.
a little weird thing he does. Owens takes him back to the floor at one point, runs him into the barricade. Ishii's trying to chop, but Owens pokes him in the eye and chokes Ishii with the shirt. And I can't remember which one of them called it a scarf. I think it was Gino called it a scarf.
Gino wouldn't call it a scarf. It was probably Walker.
No, one of
Because
them
isn't it?
called it. No, it's Gino called it a scarf, and then Walker's like, no, it's a shirt. It feels like a shirt. And it was just like, yeah, I think he was calling it a scarf, saying it doesn't hurt him. It's just a scarf. Like I think is what he was called. Like how he was saying it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Just
can
giving
hear
him a
that.
scarf. Like I think he was like implying that he was putting a scarf on him or something. It was so dumb.
So
And
silly.
we had Walker Stewart and Gino Gambino on and Chris Charlton on the 7th, and then we had just the 2 of them on the 8th. But Gino's just a highlight in these. It's so good.
I have missed having
Yeah.
Gino on commentary. Make him come back more, please. We need
Yeah.
Gino.
Owens gets that Marvel special in the corner, which is that flatliner into the corner, hits an STO, then a senton, but he can only get 2. Boots in the corner into a snapmare into the PK, and he hits a neck breaker, but he only gets 2 again. They're trading attack strikes on the ropes. They trade Germans. They trade more strikes. Ishii hits a big old lariat, and they both go down. Excuse me. Um, Owens is like trying to strike Ishii. Ishii's like, no, no. And he just like, he puts him up top. Ishii hits a superplex and gets a 2. Um, Owens reverses a power bomb into a pin for 2. Hits the back elbow, but he gets caught with on the C trigger attempt, and Ishii hits the stack power bomb for 2. Um, Owens dodges the sliding lariat and hits the jewel heist, which is his spinning lariat move that he does, and he gets a 2. C trigger into the ropes, but Ishii comes back with a strike, and then a headbutt, dropping Owens. Owens gets up top, or wait. Oh, sorry, it's not a top. It stops. I just put it at A instead of an S. Owen stops the lariat with a C trigger, then another one, but Ishii kicks at 2.9. Owens gets a Styles Clash after a series of reversals. He gets 2. Ishii looked like he tucked his head on the Styles Clash. I'm like, dude, you never tuck your head on Styles Clash. I was like, ooh, I hope he didn't hurt himself. Headbutt by Ishii, but the lariat by Owens, and he hits a half and half into the C trigger, tries to package pile driver, but Ishii slips out, gets a strike and an enziguri. Ishii hits a sliding lariat, but gets rolled up for 2. Then Owens hits, or then he gets out and he hits Owens with this like running like bullet style headbutt, like a Hanma Kokeshi style like rocket headbutt into the corner.
Yeah.
Looks so good, so
So good.
good. But again, he only gets 2. Ishii lariat. Owens reverses the brainbuster into a pop-up C trigger and he hits the package pile driver for the win. Owens asks Walker after the match, "Are we still in for dinner?" Walker says yes. Owens then invites Gino Gambino, and then he goes, "I guess you can come too, Chris, but you got to pay for yourself."
I mean, could have made Walker pay for everybody.
Well, he's making Walker pay for Gino, but he doesn't want to be nice. He's not being nice to Chris. Come on.
Uh, I guess I get it. I don't know. I love Chris Charlton.
Oh,
Gives
we
us
all
that.
do, but I
Yeah.
understand why Chase does not.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Charlton always calling him some pretty strong British names. Yes. I get it. I get it. Yeah, this was really, really intense match. I really, really like this. I like seeing these two face off together. Um, don't have a whole ton to add. It was a lot of lariats from Ishii, which we know is one of his most powerful
Mm-hmm.
kind of moves. To see how many he hit Chase with and Chase refused to go down was really, really impressive. Um, always got to shout out that package pile driver. It's one of my favorites in the business. So crisp, so good. He sets it up so quickly too. Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to this.
I'll say I think the only package pile driver I like better is probably Penta's Fear Factor package pile driver. And again, I see that in
Yeah.
person. And I've seen Chase's package pile driver in person too. Don't get me wrong. It's just he does it, and the way he lifts the guy and crashes him down, it looks so good. But like
Hmm.
Owens does it so well. It's so smooth in the
Yeah,
way he operates it. Yeah, very good. Very,
absolutely.
very well done. We're gonna move
Hmm.
on to the next match on night number 2. It is Tanga Loa with Jado versus the Great Okan with Jeff Cobb. And they show Toriano on the Japanese commentary. I was thinking, no, he's gonna get involved in this bullshit, but thankfully he did not. I was thankful for
Did
that.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, they start running in. Loa immediately runs Khan into the corner with the shoulders to the midsection. Khan comes back out with a takedown, work his amateur style for a minute or two. Loa fights back, hits lariats and hits slams. Khan ends up dumping Loa over the top rope to the floor. He hit like by the knee, so he lands on his knee on the outside. He
Hmm.
attacks the knee, runs him knee first in the barricade, chokes him with a chair, slams the barricade door on him. In the back of the ring, Khan gets low in the corner, sits on his head, then gets a release suplex and goes for the cocky pin for nothing because Loa kicked out before the ref could even count. And then
Hmm.
he goes for the real pin, but only gets 2. So if he would have went for a regular pin to begin with, there's a possibility that Dirk could have won it right there. But wants to be a cocky asshole. And I love this dude. I'm an Empire. Like I have the banner behind me, but he's playing it wrong here, man. He's going
Hmm.
back to kind of like Okan from a couple years ago. Like he's going back to that like cocky Okan again, which isn't a bad thing for character, but dude, you're screwing yourself out of wins here, dude. Like
Yeah, yeah, very much so. I have to agree. We'll comment a little bit more on that at the end of when you
yeah.
give us the finish.
So yeah, Mongolian shops by Khan, but Loa fights back into Mel, as Mel is dubbed it, the sword hammer
Yes,
into
so
the corner.
good.
Loa gets a lariat in the ropes, hits a missile dropkick for two. Khan hits a bunch of judo and monkey flips to Loa, just like flipping him around, like judo throws, monkey flips, flipping him over his shoulder. Look really good. Um,
Mm,
Here's the rear naked choke claw thing, but Loa gets a foot on the ropes. They're trading strikes back and forth. Loa hits the enziguri and the power slam, goes up but misses the flying headbutt. Khan gets the arm triangle choke, then hits an exploder and reapplies the arm triangle choke. And Loa struggling, but eventually gets a foot on the ropes. Khan hits grapple Fado Khan, which is that sleeper suplex. But Loa hits the lariat, hits ape shit, and I'm like, it's over. He's a ape shit, it's over. But Khan kicks it at like 2.9. And I'm like,
mhm,
oh, he kicked out of ape shit. That's his big finish move. That's his Stormbreaker.
mhm,
That's his big move. That's his big finish, right? Um
mhm,
Okan get Okan reverses a suplex and gets that TTD, but and he gets a 2 count. Loa then applies the sheep killer into the claw, goes for the eliminator, but Loa reverses it, hits a spear, and then he busts out a move we haven't seen here in a little bit. He going
mhm,
Kota Ibushi right here, grabs the wrist, Kamagoye to the face, and Tanga Loa using the weapon that was injured, knee to the face, gets him the win. And Tanga Loa breaking
mhm.
my bracket here, just like Chase Owens did in the match before this. Man, like night one, I went 2-1. I am now I'm 0 for 2 on the second night. I was like, how can this get worse? I'm like, and as much as I want in my heart for TJP to Finlay, like if Finlay loses, that completely screws my bracket. Like, I mean, screws my whole bracket.
Yeah, yeah, you're having some luck in pickings how I usually have in the G1.
I got kented.
Um,
Just
you
like
did.
on the first night, I got kented because I went with my heart and picked thinking of Mel.
I know. And see, why did you do that? Of course, why would they reward Kenta? Don't get me
Yeah,
started on that ish.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I really enjoyed the kind of start of this match where Okan was really forcing Loa down to the mat and doing that more amateur wrestling style that he usually pulls out of Yano. Really
Mm.
enjoyed that because it was a different styling that we don't see Tanga Loa typically go after, but he handled it very, very well. Um, Gotta hate that sit down on the back of the head in the corner there. That was hard to see Mr. Tonga stuck in that.
Mhm.
Especially because you don't typically see the bigger guys kind of get trapped by Ocon in there. It's
You,
usually,
only when they do multi-man tags when the other members of Empire set him up for that,
yeah,
and
yeah, there's usually assistance in some
yeah.
way.
And again,
Um,
I've always found that move kind of a comedy move more than anything.
it is, yeah,
Yeah.
or just like depending on how it's set up or what he does in it, it could be either a comedy spot or it can be a degrading spot, and
Mm,
I think that's what it was meant to be
mm,
in this one because you got the typically they got the oh, what is his name? The Silverback,
yeah.
you know, gorilla, right? The strongest, kind of ape. Yeah, it's an ape.
Hmm.
Strongest ape in the wild, right? One of the strongest mammals. Break a human up, no problem. So like to do that to something so strong was very much an intimidation and kind of derogatory thing that Khan did there, but I really liked how it did add to the character. But as you said at the beginning there, um, it does revert back to the Okan from a few years ago. And that was when Okan started not Okaning so much. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That was when we started seeing the character kind of do that little downward spiral, losing that Rev Pro championship and just kind of canting, I think is the word there, which is
Mhm.
really unfortunate because he's so talented and he's got that adaptable, almost chameleon-esque ability to just wrestle whoever and have a great match. It disappoints me to see.
Mhm. Me too.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that.
Alrighty then. Again, I thought a really solid match, and like
Mhm,
I picked Okan to win here, but I think it was almost better with Loa taking the win here because again,
mhm,
I really didn't put much stock in him. Kind of like I did with Finley a year or two ago before he went.
mhm,
Like I think it was last year. I didn't pick much into Finley, and he had a great year last year.
mhm,
Um, it just I wasn't thinking because it's like this is a different Loa. This isn't the tag team Loa now. This is singles Tanga Loa. So
mhm,
I got to put a different
mhm.
ish on him now.
A different
Mm,
ish.
a different ish, you know.
I love it.
We move on. Main event of the March 7th show. It's a JP representing the Empire with the red eyes. Red eyes TJP here. Oswang spirits inside of him. With
Mhm,
Francesco Akira on the outside, taking on David Finlay with Gato on the outside. TJP hits a baseball slide during Finlay's entrance. Um, and then gets him inside, hits a mamba splash in the ring. Finlay immediately rolls out. TJP goes up and over for that wrecking ball style drop kick over the top. Looked awesome.
mhm.
TGP gets him back in the ring, hits the lace wash and running boot twice. The second time, as he hits the boot, he goes sliding in between the two ropes out to the floor. Looked great. TGP goes to the top, but Finlay knocks him off the top to the floor, tosses him head first, like picks him up and tosses him head first into the post. Like just a
Mhm.
whole Finlay punishing TJP in the ring with strikes. It's a toss suplex. He's whipping him into the corner hard, whips him into the corner so hard at one point he goes bouncing over the top to the floor.
Yeah.
Finlay just relentless on the floor. Uh, and he brings him back in the ring. He's just beating on him. But TJP fights back and gets a hammerlock arm snap, and then hits, and then like does that running like reckless Mick Foley style cross, like much more athletic looking, but that Foley like kind of crash into the guy and go over the top rope. Look like move, and we're crashing them both over the top. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, just it looked really good. I just really like
Mhm.
that crash over the top.
Yeah.
TJB snapping the arms and the ropes of Finlay. Then he gets him hung over the ropes and hits some Mamba splash onto Finlay, who and crashes him into the apron. Back in the ring, gets a forearm off the top. That Osprey style forearm off the top to the back of the head. Uh, he gets Finlay in the tree of woe, stomps at the face, hits the drop kick, then he goes to the top and hits that tree of woe stomp off the top, but can only get two. Again, this like match, just a back and forth as these two is absolutely incredible here. Um,
Mhm.
Finlay reverses the running knee into the Irish Curse backbreaker, and it's like he hits him up, and like you can see TJP fighting, and Finlay has to readjust and lift him to bring him down. Just
Mhm.
like those little things that these two did together made it so just beautiful in the way they fought each other, man. It was
Mhm.
so good. Um, TJP tries to go up and over Finlay in the corner, but he catches them and hits him with the sit-out dominator. Um, Finlay hits a rebound lariat and then a swinging Irish curse backbreaker for two. Finlay goes for into oblivion, or maybe it was the underkill. I'm not sure. But TJP slips into the octopus, but Finlay eventually gets to the ropes. TJP targeting the arm, hits a super kick. They trade kicks and strikes. TJP hits a lariat. Finlay reverses a suplex, and this is where he hits into oblivion. But TJP kicks it at 2.9. Uh, Crucifix pin by TJP. Then for 2, then Finlay gets a deep 6. If you know who Baron Corbin is, you know what I'm talking about. It's a spinning back suplex, I would guess I'm going to call it. He goes for the power bomb, but it gets reversed into a DDT by TJP. This is where Gato gets involved. He gets on the apron. TJP stops the shillelagh because he had slid the shillelagh to Finlay, and then he got up on the apron to distract the ref. He stops the shillelagh shot and hits the red mist, and then hits the running knee, but can only get 2. Straight drop kicks Gato off of the apron. Goes up, Mamba Splash. He gets another 2, but then goes right into the Pinoy stretch. But Finlay fights. He gets to the ropes. Osprey's trying to hit his cross-arm DDT that he does. That is like it's
Osprey?
No, TJP. I'm sorry. Hey, TJP was having a hell of a match here, dude. Like,
whoa.
Hey, he made me think so much of Osprey at this point. I'm sorry. TJP trying
What
to
a
do that
compliment.
trying to do that cross-arm DDT, the cross-arm impaler DDT that he has. But he gets back body drops, and then Finlay also stops the tornado DDT attempt into another backdrop right into the corner. This is where Finlay hits a power bomb, can only get 2, so he lifts him up, hits the overkill, and Finlay gets the win. My bracket is saved. But if TJP had broken my bracket, I wouldn't be mad at the guy because like I feel like this was almost a graduation ceremony for TJP into the heavyweight division. Again, that's what I'm hoping this is. It's what I was hoping that was the Hiromu a couple of years ago was, but it wasn't. But I'm hoping this is TJP's kind of like coming out into that heavyweight division. I feel
well.
Yeah, get him into that global title picture, get him into the never title, whatever, but get him into that singles heavyweight title picture. Even the never would work because again, it's an open weight title. I'm just going to give you the post match before you go in. Finlay says 1 down, 4 to go. He will leave 5 bodies laying in as on his way to winning this tournament. He tells Naito that he will smash him into 1,000 pizzas and take his world championship. After that, Nemeth, he says, after that, Nemeth, I'm coming for you. So he wants to unify the world and global titles, obviously.
Or just be a double title holder.
Yeah. Again, unification, something similar thing.
We don't need to unify things. I don't like that. Don't do that. Just leave them separate. I know how you talked a lot about the big stuff that I did write down here. The only thing I wanted to mention that I really, really like in to add to your details is that what I like when TJP had Finlay in the Tree of Woe, he set him up and Finlay was dingly dangling like he usually would. What I really, really liked is that TJP, once he got to the top, he hit Finlay in the gut, like he reached down and hit him in the gut to make Finlay react in the sit up kind of motion. It makes sense. It makes so much sense with the move because usually I'm very critical when someone's sitting there for that move and they're hanging on to the middle rope like, okay, we're ready, we're waiting, come on. It was a thing that just helped make everything so organic. And as I love to say about NJPW matches, they like to suspend that reality of that kind of, you know what I mean? Like they create that reality within the ring, knowing what it is.
I
And
understand.
I love that detail about these guys. This was a banger of a match.
Yeah, again, these two stole the show.
Mhm.
And again, you look at the matchup on paper and you're like, oh, that looks like it'd be a good match. It far exceeded every thought I could have had about this match. I thought these two tore it down, man. Like,
Mhm.
and I don't think this match will get the proper respect it deserves, but it was
Mhm.
really good. I wouldn't put it in match of the year quality. Wasn't quite there, but again, really, really, it could probably contend in match of the tournament for this tournament.
Mhm.
Like it could be in that top 5 to 10 matches of this whole
Mhm.
tournament.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I did have two more things that I wanted to mention real quick about the
Mhm.
show overall.
Yeah.
I just wanted to shout out Jeff Cobb. His tour of the islands on Ishimori was freaking mental. The height that like I thought he was if he would have let go of Ishimori, he probably would have yeeted him into the crowd. It was crazy.
Well, again,
Um,
the guy is tiny though, comparatively. Like,
yeah, it was really, really cool. Another thing I wanted to note was, did you notice how quiet everybody was for the House of Torture win? Ren Narita winning in that House of Torture mess, that show.
again, like I said earlier, I decided to skip that match.
Well, the crowd was dead. And something I also noted that I didn't know if I quite liked or not. Did Jack Perry just yoink Ren Narita's story? Because Ren Narita was kind of having a little bit of a battle with Shota Umino, and now that kind of seems to have been just pushed aside for Jack Perry. What do you think?
I have a feeling he's kind of stolen his story. I agree with
Yeah,
you on that. Yeah.
I kind of am disappointed in that.
Yep.
Because even though I do feel that Narita does have some development to do, I think the best way for him to do that development, which is already coming along so nicely,
Mm.
would be to have him continue in the story that he already had set up with Shota Umino. Because, like, now, where does he go? Where does he go from here? I
He
don't
takes
really
back
know.
seats of Perry through for the rest of the tour into Windy City Riot, at least.
See, I don't like that. Melball no
Yeah, me
likey.
either. No
Anyway,
likey.
that's all I had to say.
All right, let's move on. We're gonna move to the March 8th show. Before I talk about this match, just five guys versus House of Torture. No proper Doki Choki in this match. I don't know if he yelled Doki Choki in any other point, but it wasn't for an actual Doki Choki.
Rude.
I know.
Why you bring Gino and no bring Doki Choki?
Yeah, Doki Choki, Doki Choki, Doki Choki.
It's a Doki Choki, Kevin.
We move into the first match of the March 8th first round matches. It's Hikuleo versus the young boy Oleg Boltin. And this turned out to be a surprisingly really good match. But is it that surprising though? Because we have talked about how well I think Hikuleo was your most improved last year on our award show in January.
Yep.
Um, and Oleg Boltin has been built up so well, and his evolution as a young lion has been so good this past year.
Mhm.
Um, it surprises us, but really it shouldn't with how good these two actually are, and we've watched them multiple times.
Yes, but do you recall on Japanese Wrestling Update on our local establishment there when I told you that I had already watched this?
Hmm.
Because I managed to watch it before we went on. I was like, this match was better than the main event on this show. You were like, shut the front door. There's no way.
Better than Takagi versus Yuya Uemura? No way. I thought it was. I agree with you. Like the main event wasn't a bad match. It was a good match. It just I thought this had far more intensity and personality. Like I think Bolton Oleg has more personality than Yuya Uemura.
And it's crazy where it's just come from because it was like that was the one thing that I was complaining about the last couple of months was that he was doing so good in ring. It just I wanted to see some personality. Now they put him in with Hikuleo, who was showing so much personality in this match. It was able to bring out personality in Bolton. It made him
Mhm.
comfortable enough to bring that out. I think that's why this match was so good.
Yeah, 100%. So before the match, Oleg was presented with flowers from a Kazakhstani transfer student who's studying and wrestling in a Japanese university. Um, as far as I could tell from the translations that Walker uh and Gino did
Mhm.
here. I kind of wish we had Chris because he's far more like he is super fluent in it. So I think
Yeah.
he could have given a. I'm pretty sure this was information they were getting from somebody else. Um, and yeah, and again, just like as a hey, thank you for representing us kind of deal is
Mhm.
what this was. I was super confused. I'm super confused by the whole situation, but
Working on some karate there, hey? Yeah, chop talk. Next time
that,
on Chop Talk.
yeah, you see my karate on Shop Talk, and I go on every show. Which I don't even know if I
And
do.
there
I
goes
don't
the
even know if
microphone.
I don't even know if I actually do that though.
I mean, I do this at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, but you
We're getting off topic.
because people can't see you. That's why. Because you're Juan Cena
Melball Cena.
and Melville Cena. Um, yeah, power from both these guys just smashing into each other.
Mhm.
Oleg dropping Hikuleo with the shoulder block, hits a splash. Um, but I think but he gets a 2 count out of it, but he can't get the Boston Crab here. Hikuleo fires back, it strikes, hits the big boot. Hikuleo hits the world's strongest slam to Oleg for 2. Hikuleo stops the slam attempt, gets his own, and has a jumping elbow for 2. Um, they're firing chops back and forth, and each are calling for the other one to hit them. Uh, and then Oleg dodges out of the corner, throws strikes to the back, but he can't get the German. So he unloads strikes, catches the Hikuleo strike into a belly to belly suplex, and gets a 2 out of it. Oleg then transitions into the Boston Crab. Hikuleo's like fighting and fighting. He gets to the ropes. Hikuleo hits a lariat, but Oleg gets a small package for 2, then reverses a Hikuleo lariat into his own.
Pickle lariat.
He reverses the Hiku lariat into one of his own and follows with the bridging German suplex for 2. Oleg gets Hikuleo up on his shoulders like F5 style, but Hikuleo slips off, hit and pushes him into the ropes, catches him with the snap power slam, then finishes him off with the godsend choke slam for the win in what is my most surprising match of the and because of how good this was of this entire tournament so far. Absolutely phenomenal match.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe I know some stuff, huh? I
Sometimes,
know I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
once in a
Um,
while.
once in a while. It's like a blue moon thing, like your cup
Mhm,
there.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I was very impressed with this match. I've been a little tough on, again, as I mentioned, Hikuleo, Bolton. Well, it was tough on Hikuleo last year.
mhm.
But Bolton, his facial expressions, I don't know where they came from in this match, but they were damn good. I feel again, I working with Hikuleo gave him confidence. And you saw the confidence come out more and more and more as the match progressed. And you saw the intensity come out of Hikuleo also kind of like I feel like Hikuleo sort of went into it thinking that it was going to be a little bit easier than it was.
Mhm.
And we saw him have to really turn it up as the match kind of progressed.
Yeah.
Um, I did notice also at one point it looked like Hikuleo may have busted his lip, had a little bit of a bloody lip. Um, that Bolton was able to suplex Hikuleo was freaking cool. I mean, not surprising because of how powerful and strong he is, but still really freaking cool. Because you don't see Hikuleo get yeeted around too much. So
Well,
this was one of those. Oh,
and how big Bolton actually is, and the
mhm,
fact that he was shorter than Hikuleo, and he towers over most other people in this company. To have
yeah.
somebody that's taller than him is crazy.
Hmm. Last thing I wanted to say was that Hickey Man's scoop slam is just so picture perfect. He does that so good. Yeah, that's all I got on this one. This was freaking phenomenal. I loved this match.
Yeah, again, a sleeper match out of this tournament, man. That no, I don't think any expected to be this, as good as it was. Again, 9 minutes
Mhm.
and 20 seconds, but an incredibly great
So
9 minutes and 20 seconds.
oh yeah, very much so.
So we move on to what was my match of the night. It's Gabe Kidd versus Callum Newman. These two tore it down for the 14 minutes and 10 seconds. They absolutely tore it up, man. These two are so good together.
Mhm.
Newman coming out with the Empire, but they all stay at the entranceway and make their way back into the back, which I was like, okay,
Mhm.
letting the kid
Mhm.
go out to prove himself. And kid, like a gentleman, coming out on his own. He's like, I don't need anybody.
Gentleman.
At least he did. Hey, he didn't bring Jado with him. He didn't
I
bring
wouldn't
any other
say he
member.
was a gentleman. I'd say he was a cookie motherfucker.
Okay, a sportsman. How about that? Like a sportsman. Is
Sure.
that better? Sorry,
That's as
better word.
close as we're going to get an agreement on that one, I think.
Like more like a sportsman. He comes out on his own, doesn't
Mhm.
bring back up. Fast real start with a roll up by Newman. Kid gets a hard strike. They're reversing each other, stopping each other's strikes. Newman gets that running pump kick. Kid rolls to the floor. Newman goes after him. Kid attacks him on the floor, but Newman ends up running Kid into the barricade and hits a shotgun drop kick on the floor. Uh, Newman dodge words. Do- dodges dodges when he's sweep on the apron and gets a PK to Kid on the floor. Um, but Newman misses on an Asai moonsault off the turnbuckle and like misses and crashes onto the floor, looking like he hurt himself too. Really selling that knee
Mhm.
well on that.
Mhm.
Kid runs him into the barricade, then into some chairs. He takes a barricade, throws it onto Newman. Kid then pulls him back in and runs him into the post on the floor. Uh, Kid strikes Newman in the ring, but Newman fights back, unloading on Kid. But Kid puts him up top on the top rope and shoves him back out to the floor. Then Newman does Mel's favorite spot, gets in at 19.
You know what, though? I
What's that?
didn't watch the undercard of this one, so I
Okay, so
don't know how many there was. So when this happened, it didn't annoy me as much.
no, they don't. I don't even think we got one in the first tournament match. Tell you the truth.
We didn't. No,
Yeah,
no. In the undercard, you mentioned it, but not in the main, I think.
yeah. I think there was in the undercard, but not. Yeah. Um. Uh. Just Kid with the chops to Newman, and Newman just keeps telling him to hit him more. And you hear Walker and
Mhm.
Gina go, "This is a bad idea." Like especially Gina going, "That's a bad idea, kid." And it's like you're not making good choices here, and it's just good.
Make better life choices, sir.
Yeah, Newman stops the suplex, hits one of his own. Kid ends up rolling to the floor. Newman hits two suicide dives. Newman hits the forearm to the back of the head off the top. Newman with the PKs, two PKs. He gets a 2 count. Newman is stopped on the tornado kick. Then he has Gabe Kid drop kicks his knee out from under him, and Kid hits a backdrop suplex for two. They're trading strikes. Newman hits a standing Spanish flies and catches Kid running with that. Kid spits at Newman. Newman hits a super kick in the corner drop kick, but it's stopped on the Os cutter attempt. So he hits a flip kick a flip Pele style kick off the middle rope,
Mhm.
and then hits the dragon suplex into the tornado kick, but can only get two. Newman goes to the top, misses the shooting star press, coming crashing down on the mat. Kid hits a lariat, but only gets one. Then he picks him up, brainbuster. He gets two. Kid then picks him up, cradle pile driver, and Gabe Kid moves on to make me 2-2 on night number 3. Just oh,
um, did you mention the Spanish fly? I
oh
don't
yeah,
remember here.
that he just
Okay,
caught
yeah.
him running in that Spanish fly. Looked
Oh,
so good.
so crisp, so good.
Again,
Yeah,
he's Osprey Junior here, man. Like,
yeah, he
but
very, very impressive in this one, Newman. There was the first PK that he did on Kid closer to the beginning of the match.
mm,
Did you see on the like kick through on that? He actually was very close to kicking Marty Asadi in the face.
oh, he should have. He should have.
Like, I saw Marty rear his head back a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize how close he was." Yeah, if he pulled it a slight bit when he did the complete follow through, but if he didn't, he would have definitely booted Marty in the face, and it would have been funny because yeah. But let me tell you, the bumps that Marty has been taking on this tour, They're really good. I mean, shout
Mhm.
out Marty Asadi. He's always taken those crazy bumps. I've actually also watched the 10th and 11th shows already. He took a really nasty bump, and I believe it was night 11. I was like, that man, I hope is paid a lot. We'll talk about that when we get there.
Next
Um,
next episode, ladies and gentlemen.
next episode of Puroresu Review. Um, There, I don't know what it would be called. I called it a yeetplex because I don't know what else to call it. He like did the suplex motion and then just let go of Callum like randomly, and then Callum ended up just falling on his head.
I call it just like a toss suplex. So they just it's where a guy lifts them up for a suplex and just lets them go.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
called it a yeetplex.
Yeah, same similar thing, yeah.
Yeah. That looks so nasty. Oh,
Mhm.
it looks so bad because he came down, like I said, right on the back of his head. Sold it so good. Yeah, and then the Spanish Fly was just sick.
Mhm.
Um, Callum Newman put up a hell of a freaking fight in this match. I think we saw everything this kid had in his tank, and he still wasn't willing to go down at the end there. He kid had to work very, very hard for that victory.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it was nice to see Kid again. What I'm a little, I don't know if I'm correct in saying this, but he felt a little more hinged today as opposed to his unhinged self. He was like, for the most part, more ready as opposed to more ready. He seemed a little, I'm gonna say subdued,
I would
considering
he was match ready. He wasn't war ready, but he was match
yeah,
ready.
he was very match ready, but he wasn't like war ready. Something has muted him down a little bit. And I hope that's just because of the tournament or something, or maybe some bad cheese. I don't know. But I really like the war ready, unhinged, feral Gabe kid who comes in just yelling at everybody and F bombing everything. And, what are we cackling about?
Bad cheese.
You don't know. Maybe he had some, an upset stomach and he didn't want to go too crazy. I don't know. But like it felt a little subdued. And I hope in the next round that we see a little bit more of that feral kind of wild man kid that we were seeing last year. Are you okay over there? Are we hung up on cheese?
All I can do is imagine me in my head now is Gabe Kid eating a piece of cheese and going, "Mm." just
There's
all I
some
can
bad cheese.
that's all I can think about now.
There's some bad cheese there, mate.
Oh, the bad cheese, Gabe Kid. Whew. I don't know why that got me, but it did.
I don't know either, but I'm glad it gave you some chuckles.
Bad cheese, Gabe Kid.
I really also liked at the end of this, after Gabe Kidd had won and made his exit, that the Empire members did come to retrieve their young boy,
Hmm.
bring him to the back, and congratulate him.
Hey, he had a stellar outing, and he hung with Kid.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I said, 14 minutes and 10 seconds. Like,
That was a great match. It didn't feel that long either.
oh, it felt like it went quick.
Yeah, yeah. Could
Yeah,
I felt I could have had more.
yeah. Now we move on to a match which I wish we would have had 5 minutes less of. You know what I mean? It was fine, but I could have done with 5 minutes less. It is Shingo
Yeah.
Takagi versus Yuya Uemura. This match went 23 minutes 22 seconds. Not that it was bad; it was a good match. I just didn't
Mhm.
feel it. I never got into it, man. Like I never got the feeling of
So
this match.
something I had actually noted in the notes on the night before that I just didn't really say anything about was that I noticed in the Just Five Guys LIJ matchup, when these two got in the ring together, they struggled to get chemistry in that undercard match. And unfortunately, they weren't able to figure it out going into this match either. I felt
Yeah.
that there was not a disconnect from them, but there was just I feel like maybe it's just their type of chemistry doesn't quite mishy match together yet in a way that is main eventable.
Yeah, like I understand why this was a main event because if you look at the other two
Mhm,
matches, not quite main events. Again, when you look at them, but
mhm,
like either one could have main evented if you really think about it with how good, especially the Finley Newman or not Finley, a Kid Newman match. That was
mhm.
like stellar. Um, but I get it. It's the Empire's young boy and literally a young boy in Bolton Oleg. You're not putting them in the main event.
Mhm,
So again, real I thought really good, strong match here, but just
mhm.
they never seemed to quite find that fire with each other. Even Takagi never seemed to get that.
Sta,
"Ah,"
sta, sta!
he never got his
Like, he said
yeah.
it, but he didn't feel it.
It didn't feel like it was like star. It never didn't feel. It didn't fire. And you can see it from the crowd. It didn't fire up like normal.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Again, um, they are in the land of the dragon. It is Shingo's hometown. Where
Mhm.
the crowd it was behind this guy throughout the match.
Yeah,
Maybe it's Uemura not getting much cheers in here. Maybe
it
that
was
was
not,
it.
no.
Maybe that's why he didn't find his pacing. Maybe test of strength early. Each man trying to get the upper hand. This is where Yuya starts working over the arm of Shingo Takagi and get working the arm for the first couple minutes of this. Shingo does
Mhm.
fire back with solid strikes, dropping Uemura. Uemura rolls out. Shingo runs Uemura into the barricade. He points at the English team, and they're like, "Oh God, is he pointing at us?" And oh, he was because he ran Uemura right into the barricade in front of the English commentary team, knocking out their monitors. So they had to call everything by watching it at the watching ringside and everything. Um,
That
it's kind of
destructive dragon.
yeah, it was kind of funny. The fact that they were that he was like pointing at them and then ran them right at him, and it was just like, oh my god, no! It was actually pretty funny. And Gino Gambino just bailing off a commentary when they came running at him. He's like, no, and he just ran.
I mean, similar to how Don Callis would whenever Minoru Suzuki came out.
Well, yeah, because it's Minoru
Because
Suzuki.
run.
Nobody's Minoru Suzuki. Shoulder
Well,
block.
if Don Callis didn't look him in the eye every time he walked by, he wouldn't attack him. That was rule number
True.
1, don't look Suzuki in the eye.
If I ever meet the man, I will look him in the eye.
You gon' die.
Mm, I'm okay. I'm good with it. Shoulder blocking the big old suplex by Takagi for 2. He gets the elbows and the senton into the stack pin for 2, into the SCF, into the crossface, into a Fujiwara armbar. Then Yuya Uemura gets hit to the ropes. Yuya hits a crossbody off the second rope, or the second turnbuckle. He fires up with arm drags, hits the kip up to literally no crowd reaction. And this is where I really started feeling like, man, he does not seem to have his pacing here, and doesn't like he just again maybe it was due to the crowd not having any real reaction to the guy. Um,
Mhm.
it's a back suplex, floats over into the pin for 2. He's working over the arm, drop kicks to the arm, transitioning into the Kimura. But Shingo gets to the ropes. Shingo fights back, and he's working the arm and hits that deadly, as they called it, the deadly driver DDT. Shingo catches the kick and hits a lariat in the corner. He puts Yuya up top. Yuya gets the arm, but Shingo fights him off and hits the superplex. Both men are down. Yuya stops Made in Japan, gets the full Nelson, but Shingo fights out of it. They trade chops and strikes, and Shingo unloads and gets the lariat, but Yuya hits a German suplex, and then the bridging dragon suplex for 2. Corner drop kick, and a very much a Hanare Rampage like move by Yuya Uemura here, but he can only get 2. Hits an over. Shingo gets the overhead belly to belly and the pumping bomber. He hits Made in Japan, only gets 2. Lariats by Shingo, but Yuya Uemura hits the Enziguri into the Hurricane Rana, into the armbar, but Shingo is fighting and fighting, and he gets his foot on the ropes. Um, Yuya swinging Shingo around by the arm, like spinning him, like pulling on the arm, trying to really wrench that shoulder and bicep and everything. Um, Tries to pull the deadbolt, but can't. Shingo starts hitting headbutts in the deadbolt lock. Yuya then hits a Pele kick, but Shingo hits a sliding lariat. The Rana gets reversed into a power bomb by Shingo, and he hits a pumping bomber for two. He picks him up, last of the dragon, and Shingo scores the win. After the match, Naito and Tsuji came out, and they all fist each other. And Shingo then starts eyeing the world
Right.
title. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm so far at least enjoying about this little camaraderie within LIJ is that three guys, well, one of them holding the title and two of them looking at the title going, kind of want that. We have been talking that this could be Naito's last run with a major title, given his age, given his career and everything. He's kind of done it all. But into this match real quick. Did you hear the burn Gino did on poor Walker? So,
I
in
might have
case you
missed
guys
it.
didn't know, this picture is outdated of Yuya Uemura. He does not have his hair any longer after losing
Hmm.
it in a hair versus hair match against Yota Tsuji.
Hmm.
Um, so on commentary, Walker was actually mentioning that Yuya had actually donated his hair
Hmm.
to cancer treatment people. So his hair was taken to a salon to be made into a wig that will be on some lovely person's head whenever they finish making that. And Gino turns to Walker and goes, "Yeah, I donated all of my weight to you." Rude.
Oh, what a dick!
So rude.
I heard this part. I heard them talk about the part of it donating hair, but I wasn't paying attention when he said the weight. Oh man,
So mean, Gino.
Gino,
So
I love
mean.
you. I love you, Gino, but I'm a fat boy, dude. You can't be You're an ex-fat boy. You can't be shaming fat boys,
Yeah,
dude.
won't do that. Especially when he just posted a really awesome transition before and after picture on his Instagram today. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
You
Gino
know the
before
Dick
and after.
Gambino.
Oh, Dick Togo's got a buddy now. He's got a challenge. Is he the big dick and Togo's the little dick?
Yeah, little Dick.
Yeah. Okay, okay. There was one point at the beginning of this match, I think what kind of turned me personally off of Yuya in this match was you were mentioning he was going through all of these different moves. You felt like he was trying to do every hold that he knew in his book in one big thing. Like the
Hmm.
chain wrestling that they were doing, you just seemed to go from lock to lock to lock to lock to lock. And I was like, boy, you are doing too much.
Well,
Pull
even like
back a little bit.
well, we even talked with Saber. He says he doesn't stay in a lock for more about 6-7 seconds. But Yui was doing into a lock, then he would like a second or two later would switch it,
It
and
wasn't
that
even
was the
it was
biggest
almost
issue.
instantaneous, yeah.
Mhm.
It
Didn't need the
wasn't
time.
no, there was no pace to it. All the
Mhm.
pace was used in the match before.
Mhm.
Um, now
By the
also
by
something
the Prince of Pace.
you caught that one.
Yeah.
Ah, um, there was also one thing that I wanna be a little critical of that for me was a problem being a viewer at home, and that, like, this is good, but also it needs to be just figured out with the right dials. Yuya Uemura is very much like Sonata, his mentor, and that Sonata knows where all of the cameras are at ringside and which one to be looking at what time.
Mhm.
Yuya was doing this, but it was like creepy. Like there were points where I felt like he was staring into my soul for how, like the manner he was staring at the camera. So maybe something he needs to look back at and be like, let's not be soul snatching people while they're watching professional wrestling. Because they weren't okay faces like Sonata. Sonata, he's a good looking guy. He doesn't move his face around too much. He's very subtle with his facial expressions. At one point, Yuya, I thought looked like a bit of a serial killer and I was a little afraid for my life. I thought that Boogeyman Yuya was going to come through the TV and try to kill me or something. It was a little scary. Um, I did enjoy. There was one part where Shingo did put a face lock
I'm gonna
on
say this,
Uemura.
Mel. You might have to stop watching this stuff while you're high.
Why though?
Just so you don't think the man's a serial killer.
Maybe if he didn't look like it, chill your facial expressions. He was definitely showing at certain parts of this match, and you know how Show is with his facial expressions. They're very eccentrically over the top.
I love how it's a verb for us now, showing.
Yeah. And like dick toe going. Dick toe going is also a thing.
That's just dicking around.
Yeah. Dick on dick contact. Anyway, um, there was one point where Shingo put a face lock on Yuya Uemura, and I chuckled a lot at it because Shingo's hair was in Yuya's face and it looked like he had hair again. And then he moved and he didn't. And I laughed even more.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one was long, and for me it felt long. I did
Mhm.
have a little bit of trouble maintaining my focus on it just because it felt like a little bit much.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all I got to say on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. It flowed okay, but it did feel it felt like 23 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I
And I
felt every
and I
second
watched
of this one.
and I watched at 1.5 speed. So it was over in about 17 and it felt like 23 minutes.
That's a problem. It's a problem.
A little bit.
Little bit.
Little bits. Oh, way too big.
Whoa!
Wrong button, ladies and gentlemen. Wrong button. I'm leaving that in.
Wow.
I'm leaving
Oof,
leaving this
scare
all
me
in.
there.
Leaving this in. We have come to the end of another episode of NJPW Puroresu Review. I want to thank you all for joining us here because we really do appreciate all the support you guys are giving us. It's killing time here. Uh, you can find this guy, me, the Andre C, over at the X Master on Blue Sky and Hive at that Canada guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at that Canada dude. You can find me on Facebook at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk, or over on YouTube in the comment section at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk, right here on YouTube. You can also find us over at SundayNightsMainEvent.com or Patreon.com/SNME Radio. If you want to hear us in audio form, if you're hearing us in audio form right now, thank you so very much for tuning in. Please leave a 5-star review and support the channel on Patreon if you can. You also want to thank our friends over at our local establishment, where you can find me this coming Wednesday the 13th. I will be on Marvel Talk and the MCU rebound on doing the MCU rebound with my boy Old Ed, talking the first Avenger Captain America movie. So we're going to be checking that out, talking about that movie. I watched that about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. So we'll be talking about that. I think I'm already up to Guardians of the Galaxy in my rewatch, so I'm way ahead of where we're at. But I'm
Hey.
enjoying watching all these movies again. Um, and yeah, so check that out on Wednesday the 13th. Also, you can check that on the Twitch at the twitch.tv/ our local establishment, or you can check it out on the YouTube at youtube.com/ at our local establishment. Also, Friday, March 15th, myself and Melball will be having a pre-recorded version of Japanese Wrestling Update coming out for you, because Melball and possibly an Andre Ball will be at professional wrestling. Just depends. I have a very busy week this week, so I might be using Friday to, decompress and recharge that social battery.
And what better way to decompress than watch the former love of my life, Mitch Clark, get beat by Son of Irish?
I would love that, but that would also deplete my social battery. I also want to thank our friends over at Backbreaker Video for simulcasting all of our videos a week after they come out on Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk. Mike, thank you so very much for all the great support. Check him out at youtube.com/at Backbreaker Video. You can also find all his live content over at twitch.tv/Mike the Ref, where he does his AEW watch along every Wednesday and his AEW Dynamite watch along every Wednesday and his AEW Collision watch along every Saturday. He will be starting to do watch alongs for pretty much every AEW pay per view going forward. Trying to convince him to have me on for the Dynamite sidecast or for the Dynasty sidecast. Hopefully, trying to convince him to have me on for that one. Just join him on the show for that one in April. You can also go check out all his great gaming content on his Twitch channel. And if you want replays of his gaming content, go to youtube.com/@backbreaker_gaming. You find replays from him, Mr. PJC, Mr. Rick Jules, and their freaking guests, who will be his guests this coming Wednesday, March 13th, on covering the big business show for AEW. Kayla J.
Kayla J. Love Kayla J.
I regularly tune in for his Dynamite Watch Alongs, but I definitely want to tune in for this one to see him and Kayla J talk the hopeful debut of Mercedes Moné.
We shall see.
We shall see. Melballs. Where can they find you?
If you're wanting to follow a Melball, you can find her on the Axe Thing at Collins Melball. You can find her on everything else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melball Collins. You can also find her, as Andre mentioned, on our local establishment's programming, Japanese Wrestling Update on Friday. Because, and it's going to be pre-recorded as mentioned because we are having fun and Andre needs to recharge. Relatable. And you can also find me on Astro Pizarro's YouTube channel where we do our show, Ladies Wrestling Showcase. We have a lot of stuff to talk about with the ladies. Some crazy stuff just happened this last weekend. We need to talk about it. What else? If you're wanting to watch NJPW Wrestling, we will leave a link in the description box below. It is njpwworld.com. It is 999 yen, or approximately 10 Canadian. Shout out Sean Spears, and congratulations for being back on NXT. And actually, it is more like 750 claw.
The claw.
For the price, because of currency change or whatever, is still an amazing price to watch some professional wrestling. We're not going to question it.
I think it is going up for existing users to like 1250 yen with all the new updates. I think that's what it's going up to now. So the price change will change. That's all I know.
We will let you know if it changes and when.
Yeah.
What else? Andre, my trusted friend and colleague. Do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people?
I just want to say thank you to the beautiful people. Thank you for all your great support. Please keep if you're watching on YouTube on Andre Mobile Talker Backbreaker video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. We love hearing from you. Please share us out to all your friends, family, and aliens among us. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted every time we drop a new video.
Bingo.
Way too late at night. No, go away. I don't care if you have cookies. Go away. And if you're listening on Sunday night's main event, please, thank you so very much. Please give a like to the channel on your podcast player of choice. If you can, give us a 5-star review. If you can, we really would appreciate it. And if you want to support Sunday night's main event, go to patreon.com/SNME radio.
And that being said, I am your Melball. Over there is Andre. We will see you next time. Adios.